Welcome to the inaugural edition of Vishwakarma Institute of Technology's The Cradle of Achievers. Welcome guys, I'm sure this is going to be really fun. Let's get started. Any opening thoughts?
Let's start.
All right, Amrut, your turn.
Oh, it was not intended, of course.
So we know you have a very intense and busy role as at IBM as having a global manufacturing portfolio in SAP projects. You're also a very keen tabla player. That's your passion. So how do you manage and balance your profession and your passion?
Well, good question. I don't really manage it, is what I think, but I just try to do both whenever I get time. So during my day, I am employee of IBM and then manage whatever I'm supposed to manage, the manufacturing projects under SAP and getting delivered from India. As well as at the same time, when I get time in the evenings or maybe weekends or weeknights sometimes. So yeah, we do practice. I take out some time doing practice. God's grace that I could manage it. So
Nice, excellent, excellent. So Arjun, how about you? What's been your journey like? And we also know that you are a keen golfer. What's your golf handicap?
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, I mean, just to answer the latter first, yeah, I'm a keen golfer. Current handicap is 3. So I enjoy, like Amrut said, right, trying to find time. You don't really have to manage it if it's a passion that you're trying to pursue. And I really one thing feeds off the other, right? So have a hectic week at work and then go and have a wonderful round of golf, over the weekend. And then you're totally recharged for the next week. What's been my professional journey? After leaving VIT and then finishing my MBA, I joined the Tata Group for a decade and bounced around several different industries under the TAS program. And then moved on to Uber for 5.5 years. And I have since then joined Warner Brothers Discovery. So it's been a busy, 16 years after having left college. 18 actually, but it's been super gratifying.
Nice, interesting.
excellent.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
So today we also have Chinmay Pandit with us from the Industrial Production Engineering Department, and he's the Deputy Commissioner of Police. Yeah, exactly. So that's like a real inspiration for all of us.
Thank you.
Yes. So Chinmay, what has been your journey?
So I am the junior most over here. I am a 2009 batch passed out. Early, same medical reasons. So after working in Mahindra & Mahindra, I was feeling some kind of a vacuum there. So I left the job and started preparing for the civil services examination. And by God's grace, I got through in the first attempt.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's an amazing transformation,
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah.
It's not so easy.
Yeah. And the the conviction to keep
Yeah,
following what you
doing
really
it,
wanted to do
until you
I
get
think
there.
That's been,
Yeah, until you get there.
Yeah.
Of course.
so I think though he's been the junior most, I think he really deserves a salute from all of
Arre,
us,
sir.
right?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Chinmay, very much. So, Nikhil, you have an interesting story, right? Your entire enterprise is built on the idea that started here on campus, and we would like to hear about that.
Yeah, so it's definitely been one hell of a journey. I think when I got out of engineering, my first thing was that I'm not built for the tech space. I definitely don't want to do anything where I'm going to be the techie. I wasn't a techie. Somehow or the other, I landed up in the private equity and hedge fund division doing pre-deal analysis.
Wow.
Some of them were tech companies and things like that, but did that for three years. But before that, during the engineering final year project, we had worked on RFID, radio frequency identification, as a technology. Some of my project partners who were, one of them went on to Singapore to pursue his masters in robotics and automation. The third partner was working with Patni as a software developer. And another good friend of ours who was in the ENTC division, he was working with Texas Instruments at that time. All of us were in a space where we said, we've worked for 3 years. We're doing reasonably well in our jobs, getting our money, but it's not really exciting any of us. And one fine day we said, you know what, let's just take the plunge. Let's try doing something for ourselves. And within a week, I think, 4 of us quit our jobs in different locations. I literally gave in my resignation on the day I got a promotion letter. This was 2009. We all landed up back in Pune and said, let's start. And that Diwali, we registered our company and haven't looked back. So it's been an interesting journey.
It's a very Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara vibe going on here, right?
It sounds very filmy.
That's awesome.
Accept, but
Yeah. It's so rare that your dissertation project, your thesis in college graduates in becoming your company
true,
and a successful
true,
one at that. That's
I
awesome.
mean, that's something that I know it sounds, like I said, very filmy. You can't plan out your life, based on all our experiences, whatever I've heard, he's a police
very
officer.
different,
I can't talk of anything more diverse from engineering to police. It's completely different. Right?
One of my roommates, engineer from VIT, is now a police officer in Australia.
Wow.
Oh,
So you really cannot plan your life, right?
Yeah, even my batchmates, one of them is a commercial pilot.
Yeah.
One of them is an actress in the Hindi TV serials. एक तो है जिसकी खुद की apparels की एक brand है.
Okay, amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah, so you go into so many
अलग-अलग है.
directions, right?
Yeah.
so, and also what I'm seeing is I'm also seeing. I mean, I'm the oldest amongst the lot, so
And the wisest.
not the wisest, oldest, yes, by age.
Okay.
So the objectives of engineering and the way we approached engineering, or after that, I see a lot of difference in this because we never thought. I mean, I passed out in 1996. I couldn't ever have imagined that I starting a new organization of my own or doing startup. No way. I mean, that time getting salary of 2,000 rupees
Yeah.
Yeah.
was a big thing. I mean,
The objectives are different, right?
Yeah.
I was speaking to Dr. Jalnikar today, and he was saying now BIT publishes hundreds of patents every year.
wow,
You know,
100
so
patents is
yeah. So it's
that's
completely.
Siddharth. I think Siddharth Zabde sir. I think that's because of he's one of those pioneers in
The
bringing
institute
that
has
here.
really not just kept pace, but kept ahead of
Yeah.
a lot of other institutes in the same bracket. So talking about let's flip the script now. So Chetrali, you did instrumentation engineering over here,
Yeah.
and you've completely gone to a different field and started your own company in UI UX.
Yeah.
What inspired that? Can you share your journey with us?
Simple answer is it just happened by chance, but no regrets, no turning back. So I actually went for my master's for biomedical engineering because my mentor Mrs. Mehtre in the department, she taught us biomedical instrumentation and that was like the hottest field in 2000. So I went for my master's and fortunately, unfortunately, the professor decided to go on a sabbatical. And you spend all the dollars and you go there and I'm like, okay, now what? I definitely can't go back. I have a one-way ticket. So then I had to switch to human factors engineering and ergonomics, so which is an allied field. It wasn't known in India then, So I did my masters. I was at NYU designing orthopedic instruments for a while, and then we decided to come back for the family. And Persistent was the only company at that time which was giving jobs as usability engineers. And the words got coined as UI UX in the past couple of years, but then it was usability engineering. So that's where the whole engineering thing comes into picture.
Yeah, even I didn't.
Yeah, and it was just again, like some people at Persistent had come back from the US and they knew the value of my education from there. And that's where I started work there for a few years, then found my partners. They are based out of US and then they were like, would you like to participate? And I'm like, of course I would like to participate, why not?
Yeah.
And that's how it started, and it's been like 22 years now.
Quite a
So yeah, it's been a nice journey, I would say.
So something I should tell my son. He is doing instrumentation now. So
Oh yeah, absolutely. I would be more than happy to take him with
cool.
me. So guys, the world sees our success, but not the struggles that we've gone through, right? We've had to make tough decisions. We've had challenges along the way. So let's talk about that for a while. And Chinmay, I would like to start with you.
the best choice.
Not really, actually. 2008-9 was a global recession, and that time I got placed in Mahindra and Mahindra. So, and I got a good package that time. People were not getting jobs, and I had a job. I got confirmed too. But then, as I said, I was not feeling like I have a long-term career over in that field. So leaving the job was the toughest decision I had to make that time because global recession, good salary, security in life, all gone in with that one decision. And after leaving the job, I mean, people used to ask me, what are you going to do? So I used to say, I'm going to try for civil services. And that time, civil services was like a very difficult thing for a middle class person to do because सब लोग बोलते थे कि ये तो मटका है, गैमलिंग है, लगा तो लगा, नहीं लगा तो. Or 1 year I took a complete gap, sat at home and prepared for civil services. So that was the toughest time because relatives used to ask कि क्या हो रहा है, क्या चल रहा है, मेरा बच्चा इसमें ये कंपनी में इतना अच्छा जॉब कर रहा है, तू जॉब छोड़ के घर बैठा हुआ है. But that one result gave answers to all the queries that all the people out there had.
Nice, interesting. Yeah. Nikhil, how about
What
you?
was your parents' reaction when they heard your result?
Both of my parents are government
Obviously,
service.
they will be happy. I mean,
They,
I'm not
they were
asking that.
they were very happy, but my mother was little skeptical because when I started for civil services, I started for Indian Foreign Service. I fell short of 2 marks and landed up in Indian Police Service. I should not use landed up. I got my home cadre, and Indian Police Service is a prestigious service. And now 9 years down the line, my life has changed like anything, and it is God's grace that I am able to deliver what I had in mind when I started preparing.
Great. So you run with the siren, is it?
When he's chasing
Next
the
time, we
rabbit.
should,
These are small
next time we should
fantastic
look out
things,
for the
right?
car. Like, is Chinmay inside?
Yeah, for sure.
That's great.
So, Nikhil, how about you?
Interesting. I think very similar that, I mentioned earlier that we were all four who came back together. We didn't start immediately after engineering. We were all in different jobs. One of us had actually gone ahead and done his masters. Someone was working with a MNC, all drawing decent salaries or doing reasonably well for themselves within whatever the first 2-3 years that we had been. So giving that up, taking that decision was not the easiest, I will say, but we were convinced that if we can prove ourselves there in 2-3 years, which means that we'll be able to prove ourselves later, even if we fail in whatever we do.
So, you better make it happen.
And I think the first year of an entrepreneurship is probably difficult because you don't have money and you don't have those kind of things. But the bigger this thing is that you get past it because there is always that josh. I have to prove that my decision is right. You also are very enthused by that. No, what I'm going to do is going to work. So the first year, I think is still the easier process. It's when the reality starts sinking in a year or 2 years into it, and you're like, did I make the right decision? Did I give up my job? Had I continued there, I would have been at this position. I would have been making so much money. And then he had comparisons, but I think you went for it for a year where someone said, oh, वो इतना पैसा कमा रहा है और तू देख क्या कर रहा है. I think for us it was a little longer, and you needed to have the conviction at that time. That's the difficult phase. You go through a lot of these things, from earning salaries, having disposable income. You had become independent after college, and then you come back to being dependent. Of course, we didn't have the money to support ourselves, so we went back to borrowing from parents. We went back from bikes and cars to bicycles. I used to bike to work for the initial stages. We went back from pizzas and burgers to vada pavs, and that's a reality that comes with it. And then you start questioning yourself. So that's, I think, a tough phase. You don't have the money, so you also start saying no to all your friends. I can't go here, I can't do that. You kind of become social outcasts for a while. Accepting that, then comes a stage in life where people are, marriage is a big thing in India. Then you start thinking, oh, फिर तेरा शादी कैसे होगा, type of a thing. These are all practical challenges. Expectations are sky high, and unfortunately, because you only hear of the success stories, कि this startup raised so many millions, that startup became a billion-dollar company. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg. For every company that becomes a billion-dollar company, there are billions that are actually failing or not making it to that stage, right? So that can't be your measure of success, and that's, I think, the tough part, trying to keep people convinced that what you're doing, you're passionate about it, and you're going to make it big at some point. And the measure of big is, I think, very relative. So these are, I think, the most challenging parts. And looking back at it, it's been totally worth it, no matter what the struggles. That is something that I will definitely say.
Congrats on the success.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
So Arjun, how about you?
Oh, so look, whatever I say will not even compare with entrepreneurship, right? Both of you have been through the ringer that none of us who are employed will ever have to face because we operate in the cocoon or the safety nets of companies. But for me, I think what's been the toughest is I've continually pulled myself out from, the familiar and thrown myself into the unfamiliar. So I've gone through 9 different industries in 16 years. And every time I had to learn something new on the job while having the burden of expectation to deliver ASAP, right? There's no luxury to have a long time to learn. And I think that has become part of who I am now. But it took me initially quite a bit of intense spade work to build that into, my personality. And I think that is, held worked well for me. So that's, I think, some part of the struggle, which is the question, has been that to continuously keep chopping away and getting good at something that you're not familiar
Getting
with.
out of your comfort zone.
Correct. That's been critical.
Yeah, nice. Amrut, how about you?
Yeah, so I was just hearing the stories. I mean, as Arjun rightly said, I mean, there is a step difference between the entrepreneurs and the employees.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are the other side of it. I mean, we are the employees of maybe big organizations. Then somehow, when I got into that organization, so it was like, very pre-decided that uh, now I am in SAP. I have to kind of crack it to the core. Unless it happens, it's not going to, there is no future. I mean, you have to be there, you have to know. So it somehow started that. So, and in the same time, I also, at the around same time, I also got married. So my wife was doing a PhD in Mumbai University in Sanskrit. So, but it was very clear understanding. I told her that, look, I don't have time for you. And I was in Hyderabad, so I was not in Mumbai. So, and then I told clearly that, look, our families are in Mumbai. You are in Mumbai. I mean, and then obviously because, and then I told her, like, look, I don't have time. मुझे time नहीं है. My first priority is to get through this SAP thing. I mean, if I get through this now, it's only going to happen it now. It's not going to happen after 5 years. There is no 5 years afterwards. I mean, there is no future after 5 years. So if you are okay, come to Hyderabad. Don't ever tell me that you are not giving me time. But those kind of open conversations, professional courage or professional decision, but then at a family level, you have to take that decision. And then she supported that decision. And then I spent my time. It all gets counted, as Nikhil said. So when you look back,
Yeah. It's totally worth it.
it's worth it. I mean,
Yeah.
So what was your struggle like?
I think rather than struggle, I think the challenges I would say was, trying to balance being a daughter, then a wife, like a daughter-in-law, a mother, and then, caregiver to my dad and my mother-in-law when they were terminally ill. And everything happened at the same time, while my son was like 4 months old. And the choice that had to be made, career karna hai, ghar ka karna hai, now what do you do, right? So that was one of the biggest challenges that I faced, inner struggles, should I do this, should I not do this? Company wants to send me on site, like, do I leave them and go, just pack my bags and go? I'm just newly married, like, you stay here, I'm going, and especially because we'd moved back with a conscious decision of being with the family. Now that I'm here, now that I'm entrepreneur, like, there are 40 families that depend on you. You have to think about the salaries and where the money comes in. During COVID times, it was an harrowing experience, to let go of people, especially when people needed the money, right, to survive, right? So that also has stayed with me, the last year, where, like, how are they doing? Did they find jobs? I'm sure, I know they have found jobs, but just letting them go for no fault of theirs. So that has been like one of the big things. So, like, that's a turning point, challenges, struggle. So, what has been your turning point, Nikhil?
Wow. Turning point. I think turning point was the decision to quit my job. and get into entrepreneurship. I don't think there's a bigger turning point in my from a career point of view. I think, yeah, I think that would be the point that I and uh, the second turning point that I would put it is finding our focus in our entrepreneurial journey, because when we started out, of course, we didn't have the focus of what exactly we wanted to do. We knew that we wanted to operate in this space of RFID as a technology, but zeroing down on a particular industry, finding the right solution, it happened. It's not something that we knew that this is what we are going to do. And that I think that's an interesting perspective for a lot of people who might want to consider entrepreneurship, that most people wait for the right idea to happen. That oh, I'm going to wait for the time when I'm going to come up with the $1 billion or $1 million idea, and then I'm going to go all guns blazing with that. Or there is a right time to do this. I don't think there's ever a right time to do it. The right time is always now, right? So if you have a dream to follow, go with it. Things will fall in place. That would be my takeaway from this entire thing.
TAS,
Yes.
आपने ज़्यादा नहीं बताया उसके बारे में कुछ.
Oh, okay. So that is, it's a good plug. That's exactly what I was thinking of to answer your question as well. For me, the clear turning point was getting into TAS or TES, the Tata Administrative Services. In 1964, around thereabouts, the founder, J.R.D. Tata, the chairman at that time, wanted to emulate a service within Tata's like the IAS that would have general management cadre. And people would be deputed and deployed across different industries because the Tatas operate across so many. And then if you do well, you have the opportunity to rise right up, to the top. Right? So that's how it was designed. It's a fantastic program. That was definitely the turning point in my career because it gave me a platform which was much more advanced for the years of experience that I had, and gave me access to a different league of professionals who turned out to be your mentors. And I think in life, everything is about exposure. If you don't have exposure, you can't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
And I think that platform at TAS helped me realize that there's a total, different world out there, and helped propel the altitude of my thinking, of my aspirations. Everything changed once I got into TAS. That was the turning point of my career.
How about you, Amrut?
Okay, so talking about turning points, I would say I have two, because two in two different fields. One is in tabla, and one in the professional career. So tabla, I would say I started in 1983. I was 7 years old. Wow. So I started with Ustad Allah Rakha, Ustad Allah Rakha Khan Sahib. So who is father of Ustad Zakir Hussain? Yeah. So I started with him, and then for good 10 years, I didn't know actually who I'm learning with. So it is just like a one class. So evening. So I used to go to his home as well for learning earlier, and then in the class, 2 weeks, 2 days in a week, and then 2 hours or whatever.
7 साल की उम्र में कहाँ पता चलेगा किसके
It was just a tabla
उस्ताद अल्लाह
class.
रखा
So I
खान
go to
मैंने.
tabla class, but I really don't know. He was the Ustad Allah Rakha. I mean, such a legend. So, but when in 1993, I was in VIT by then. He decided me to take it as official student. I mean, official student meaning there is a ritual called Ganda Bandhan. So he actually tied a thread, and then he accepted me as his student, formal student. Wow. Disciple, accepted as a disciple. That started one-to-one talim, one-to-one teaching with him. And that was the big turning point for me. I mean, that actually opened a lot of eyes and brain and thinking and everything, basically. So that was one on the tabla side, and the second one, of course, the professional career. The one I said in Japanese thing. Interesting is about the salary. I mean, that time when I was in Mumbai, I was earning salary of 2,000 plus something. And I went to Hyderabad, and then this guy was sitting there, and then he explained me, showed me the Taj Mahal. You will do this, you will do that, and this is the path, and this is the future, and he talked maybe 15 minutes I was just talking, and then he was like, yes, I told him everything, whatever I wanted to tell him. And then he said, do you have any questions? I said, yes. What is going to be my salary? So, and then he said, oh, no one told you about the salary? And then he said, he asked HR to come in and then tell him about the salary. And then HR was like, we have looked at your this and that, and we will offer you some 20,000 salary. I said, okay. Is it per month or per year? I mean, because just imagine a person
Your
who is earning
benchmark was
2,000 rupees a
2,000
month. If you multiply by 12, it will range in somewhere in the 20s, right?
Correct.
I asked that question, monthly or per year. So I said, monthly, kam hai? I was like, no, kam nahi hai. Can I call from here? So I called my dad in Mumbai. So
Masking your excitement.
yeah, I mean, I told him now they are offering me 20,000. And then he said, the same question, mahine ka ki saal ka? And then it was like, mahine ka? Yeah. Why are you even thinking? Go for it, go for it.
Take it.
But then it started like that, but then it actually turned out to be an SAP affair. But then that was a turning point. I mean, I never thought I would
Land up in SAP.
land up in SAP, and then that was the whole career game changer, I would say.
Yeah.
It changed the whole thing after that.
Yours, right?
All right, guys, let's do a quick rapid round fire. So, one practice or habit or a routine that you follow every day that helps you. Chinmay.
I do at least 45 minutes of exercise every day. Swimming, yoga or running, cycling. इनमें से कुछ एक every day I do it religiously.
Nikhil.
I think I'm not letting any of my emails or WhatsApp notifications, messages, whatever I get, leaving them unanswered. Never do that. So morning, the moment I get up, everything is answered. Before I go to bed, everything is answered.
Okay, I'll go next. I have two things. One in the morning, exercise 45 minutes, spinning on my music. And then at night before I sleep, 5 minutes of gratitude throughout the day.
You took my answer away.
Oh, you were going to take my next one, so I took this one. So 5 minutes of gratitude, just thinking about the day and just being grateful for whatever I got. Amrut.
Okay, so two things again. One in the morning, that thinking that I will do exercise, which I never do. And then in the evening or before I sleep, I ensure I hear some good classical music for about 30 minutes.
रियाज पण असेल.
Not every day, not possible now.
Like I said, ditto. An hour of exercise in the morning and gratitude at night. Yeah, that's been a habit for a long time.
All right. So, guys, if we were not what we were today, what else would you like to be? I know that you would be a tabla player. So, we'll go around the table in a different manner. So, let me answer this first. So, if I was not what I am today, I would definitely be a teacher. And I know I will be a teacher like a few years from now.
I think we've all experienced it. Through
Yeah, I know. For the last few hours, you've experienced that. So yes, I would be a teacher if I was not what I am right now. Nikhil?
Either in sports, a career in sports, that's something that I would have really liked to do. And retrospectively, I also think that maybe a career in the forces, my parents' background, something that I rejected when I needed to make a choice. But retrospectively, I think I would have enjoyed their life.
Nice, interesting.
I would have been a movie star.
Wow.
Because क्योंकि मुझे जो सब चीज़ें मैं पुलिस में रह के नहीं कर पाता हूँ, जैसे गाड़ियाँ उठा के पटकना, लोगों को मारना, धम, वो सब मैं मूवी स्टार होता तो मैं कर पाता. जोक्स अपार्ट, I would फार्मर बनना चाहता हूँ.
Oh wow.
That's a very interesting choice.
For me, it would have been the sports person throughout since I was a kid. So either tennis or golf, I would have loved to pursue either of them professionally if I had the chance.
But you can still do that. Golf is still an option.
Yeah,
right?
but not professionally now. The ship sailed over there.
So
No, for me it was obvious choice. I mean, musician. I mean, otherwise, yeah. So there was a choice in my life where I go this way or this way. So then I chose tabla to be as an hobby, and then over
He
the career.
played for Bollywood movies as well.
Yeah, so I played in albums and in a lot of open shows and in India, abroad. I mean, so all of that has been done. I mean,
So Arjun, I'm going to start the next one with you.
Sure.
So where do you think the world is headed right now, and how would the next decade shape us?
Wow, that's a really profound question.
I'm starting with you. It's intense.
Yeah, I think
Look,
only
I think
TAS
there's-
officers can answer this.
Right now, if you look at the economic headwinds and everything looks to be woe begone, but that's, we've never been healthier, and coronavirus notwithstanding, but we've never been more prosperous or healthier or better educated or living longer than in any other period of human history. So I think with all the capital that there is, all the entrepreneurial spirit there is a wonderful momentum to prosperity of the world in general. I'm excited for the world our children hopefully will grow up in. Sorry, you blindsided me with that question, but that's my response right now.
Chinmay, you want to add to it?
Yes, as Arjun rightly said, the world will be definitely a better place to live in. अगर लेकिन हर सब कुछ अगर परफेक्ट हो जाए, इतना शांति का टापू बन जाए, तो पुलिस की जरूरत क्या रहेगी? जैसे उन्होंने कहा कि there will be skirmishes, there will be challenges, there will be different kinds of challenges for us as policemen. लेकिन पुलिस भी उस तरीके से
You hope so? Yeah.
Nikhil?
I think I pretty much echo Arjun's thoughts here. Every time we come up with challenges, we are going to find solutions to them. I hope we can find good solutions to them in time. I would like to believe that there is hope, there is positivity out there, and each one of us is going to contribute in our own little way. For in the process, we need to think of beyond ourselves in every little small way that we can contribute, and with that, the world should be a happier place than it is right now.
So I will give a little electronic answer. So being electronic student, so it's a sine wave. So anything that goes to peak will always face a trough, right? So there are few things which are going up will come down. There are few things which are already undergoing a downward trend. They will see them going upward. So it will always be a balance. You need all 5 fingers. None of the fingers is good or bad.
What's your take on it?
Professor.
So when I think about it, sometimes I feel we're going to go back to the ice age. Especially during the last 2 years, we've realized that we don't need as much as we thought we need. So going back to the grassroots, starting where it not actually ice age, but you don't need all of this, right? So it kind of goes back to the sine wave, right? So you've gone up, now you're going down, going down, up again and down. So going back to the ice age and starting from there.
Reset button.
Not reset with the good things that we have right now. So start that as a baseline. So yeah, that's where I think it would be, and everything that you guys said right now.
Okay, Professor. Whatever you say.
This is
when you say Professor, I think we're like the X-Men team.
I know there are too many professors here already.
Okay. Wow, this is interesting. We want to see how current you guys are with all the short forms. What do you think?
Short forms.
Yeah.
Okay.
Acronyms,
Acronyms.
short forms, whatever you want to call it. What is YOLO?
Is it supposed to test how old we are, how wise we are?
Yeah.
how
So
young
let's
we
do this.
are?
Let's do this. Let's start.
Let us have this segment when I go off.
No, what do you think is YOLO?
You only live once.
You got that.
There we
right.
go.
Wow.
Good. I only answer once also. Okay, so I'm done. I got 100 on 100 here on this.
Okay, so I'm going to go with the next one to you. What is FOMO?
fear of missing out.
Wow, people are updated.
Please give me
Okay.
the easy one. I am
Okay,
the professor
I'm going to
here.
give you the toughest one. IFYKYK.
IFYKYK.
You guessed it, right, in the afternoon?
I did actually.
If you know,
It's if you know, you know.
if you know, comma, you know.
Okay, let's go with GOAT for you.
Wait, this is some good as it gets. No.
You're almost.
Roger Federer,
Yeah.
Tiger Woods.
It's greatest of all
Greatest
times.
of all time.
There we
That's
go.
me.
And the last one, BAE.
BAE.
Bus aaj ke liye enough. You know.
That is for our generation. All right, guys. So I've put on my Sherlock Holmes hat. and I found some treasures from your VIT Pune days.
Oh my God.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Okay, so I'm going to start with Nikhil. All right, so I'm going to show you a picture, Nikhil, and you have to tell us the story behind this.
Wow.
All right, here you go.
That is 2 decades ago, and I have no idea what they're doing with that helmet, or why. Everyone seems to be displaying the helmets there, but I can see my project partners there and co-founders of my company. So that's a very interesting
Is this you?
picture. That is me. That's Rohit, who is my co-founder. Shekhar, who was working with Patni at the time. We started, and then he joined us. So the three of us were the final year project partners. A lot of the others I recognize. That's Jnaneshwar, Khatri. He's I think now in Korea with Samsung. Oh, Mithil has completely changed his line. He's in interior design. Oh, that guy is a lieutenant colonel in the army now.
Nice.
Interesting.
Sagar Kharpudekar. Couple of them are in Bangalore. I seem to recognize most of the people here. Yeah.
All right. Ready?
Oh, yeah?
Arjun?
Oh, wow.
Here you go. This is what I found.
I remember this one. I think it was my birthday. That's why I look all scraggly. I woke up in the morning and my friends and roommates came across to wish me. So that's my room. So a lot of posters. That's the India flag. A lot of posters of my passions, right? So fighter aircraft, comic books, movies, and you'll see bikes and cars here and there. So 3 of my roommates, I can see Jignesh, Manu and Winston, and then Sanya and Paritosh. Rajiv's missing from this pic. But yeah, that was my room. We stayed, 3-4 of us stayed in, I think it was a 2 BHK, so we had a room, half a room to ourselves. But very fond memories of that time.
So
You
this
seem
is
to
my
be
treasure.
Hounded by all the guys.
So interestingly, we had only 4 girls in a class of 77.
Rare commodity.
Instrumentation.
Rarest of the rare commodity.
And always popular for the right or the wrong reasons, whatever. So this one is a traditional day. Always needed an excuse to be out of the class. So we used to get that guy to do the feta and all. And,
Yeah.
I used to be like one of the centerpieces amongst all boys because they always wanted my journal. So if they left me out of the photograph, they are not going to get the journal, at the end during submission. So, that was the reason why I'm in the center of it. And so we had all these funny names, Wandya, Chungdya. So Chungdya's real name used to be Amit Zunnare. You could never even think that somebody could call him Chungdya. Then Nagarkar was Nagya, Nagdya, whatever, So, a lot of memories, this being traditional day.
Lovely.
All right, the next treasure that we found is for Chinmay.
Mr. Inspector is really inspecting something over there.
I know.
This was in the workshop. I was working on a lathe machine. So there used to be a teacher in the workshop. After every sentence used to say alag alag shat. Matlab, did you understand it? So he had his own accent and alag alag shat. So jokingly we used to repeat that alag alag shat, yete alag shat. So that was a fun memory.
All right, guys.
Excellent.
Thank you so
This
much.
was so much fun.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
So it was good to know all of you.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
We had a good time making this, and we hope you have a very good time watching this. Thank you.